Panda Anthem.
Ian, what's up?
Red Panda Anthem.
Red Panda, what's good?
Red Panda Anthem.
Without further ado, we'll bring on my guy. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
P, what's good, man?
What's going on?
Guys. Yeah, what's good, bro?
Nah, all good, man. Thank you for joining us, man. So yeah, I was just giving the intro and kind of just breaking it down. So I got a lot of questions, but before we start, I think it'd be dope because it's a good story actually for you to tell how you began working with Steve Harvey, because we kind of heard it from his side when he was on the show, but I would love to hear it from your side.
Definitely. Well, once again, appreciate y'all for having me, man. As y'all say, y'all are the biggest, so I don't even really do interviews often, bro. So I appreciate you guys. But honestly, man, like I said, I went to Morehouse, or as you guys know, I went to Morehouse, so for business administration, with a concentration in marketing and psychology. So, I just wanted to understand like how people thought a certain way and why they thought a certain way. While I was in school, I actually started a shoe company. So I was manufacturing and producing my own canvas and leather shoes. So similar to Tom's and Nike's, and it was called Steps by Stevens. So for every pair of shoes I sold, I provide meals to women and children's shelters nationwide with my business partners at the time, Malcolm Connor and Mr. Harvey's son, Broderick Harvey, was actually doing all our creative direction. So that's kind of how I got introduced to Mr. Harvey. So I did that all throughout college, did extremely well. Went on his talk show one day to kind of promote our product. When I came off stage, his COO at the time was like, hey, you should come work for me. And of course I was like, man, I got my own company at the time. I'm good, bro. Like, I'm clearly here selling shoes. But some times went by and I just spent time around the Harveys, but volunteered at their mentorship camp. They have the national mentorship camp where they mentor, 250 fatherless boys. So I participated there and kind of just built a reputation for myself there. It's like a hard worker. And then one day, Mr. Harvey called me and was like, listen, I want you to come on to be a part of this team. Like, what are you about to do? I had just fizzled out with my company. As you all remember, 2014, China had a bit of a recession. And I had about 75,000 in raw materials over in China. And at the time I didn't have any credit because I was 21 years old. So I didn't really have any credit. So of course that was all my cash. I didn't know much about credit. No one would give me a line of credit. And I couldn't get the materials over. So I ended up, one of my failures that kind of led me into where I am now was the fact that like my shoe company fizzled out because I made a bad investment. So Mr. Harvey was like, what are you about to do? Of course, I was, hey, I'm about to go to Harvard. I got accepted to every Ivy League in the country. So I was going to go to Harvard. I was going to go to Harvard, get an executive MBA. And then Mr. Harvey basically asked, what are you going to Harvard to do? And I told him, meet JFK's grandson and so on and so forth. Because, essentially a lot of people go get their MBA to network. So he asked me if I can get a better network and make the same amount of money, if not better, without going to school, would I do it? And at the time I said no. Left his house, I got in my car, and on the way home, I was like, man, that's actually a great opportunity. So I gave him a call, like, yo, Mr. Harvey, you mind if I come by the house tomorrow? And from there, it was a wrap. So I just started doing research and development. And at the time, myself, Broderick Harvey, and this guy, Cesar Davis, had worked on a deal that at the time, what I didn't know was, they said structurally it was one of the best deals that it came through the company at the time. And after that, Mr. Harvey was like, listen, I just want you to kind of be with me on a day-to-day. And from there, it was a wrap, just kind of gaining more and more responsibility as I saw people not, taking opportunities that were clearly in front of them.
That's
incredible. A legend. A legend.
So, all right. So let's talk about this investing. So he has said that, he gave you an amount of money and then you like 20x'd it or something like that. Can you talk about that? That was a legendary situation.
Yeah, definitely. So about 6 months into my time working for Mr. Harvey, it might have been 2015, early 2016, late 2015. And he would just always come in the office. And at that time, I was really into investing. Well, I still am into investing, but I was managing my portfolio. And he looked over my shoulder and basically was like, "What is this that you're doing?" And I was basically looking at a stock chart, and I was looking at a PE ratio for a company at the time. And he essentially didn't understand, what that was, and he was like, "Man, you're investing?" He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You're not scared to lose money?" I was like, "I mean, I don't think you could be afraid of losing money." But in my defense, during the first stock crash in 2008, I was still in high school. So I didn't lose money. And for him, he lost, 8 figures. So it's a different level of risk and a different level of tolerance talking about stocks. However, I convinced him that, why you invest, what you should invest in. So he gave me $40,000. And he was like, just let me play with it. And to someone like him, $40,000 isn't anything. But to me, I'm like, holy crap, like this dude gave me $40,000 to manage.
Yeah.
At the time, I just filled it out. So I didn't have $40,000 in my account, period. So, I'm stressing trying to manage dude's money. And at the time, my first purchase of investment for him was Match. So Mr. Harvey had a strategic relationship with Match. I don't know if you all remember, but if you do your research, he cut a deal with Match to create Delightful. So he had delightful.com. I want to say the name of it was, and basically it was a strategic joint venture because Mr. Harvey had just had all the success from Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. Match was trying to get into African American and diversify their markets because all their marketplace was hitting their target demographics that they originally had, and they needed to scale. So it was a strategic partnership that we already had. So considering we had a strategic partnership, I knew some information about the company that was extremely good, and I kind of knew what the fundamentals, or essentially I had my own intrinsic value for the company that I knew would go. So cut a deal with them to get the stocks at a discount. So we ended up getting a match at like $10, $9, and the IPO to 13. And he buys I buy in tens, he's buying in tens of thousands. So I think for that day I got like 3,000, a little over 3,000 shares. So 3,000 bucks every time it goes up $1. And you all know what Match did from then to 21. And we still hold it. And in that time we, increased our position to trim at certain price points. And after that, it was, after you make 3-4x in a few months, he gets excited. He gave me another
anybody would.
Yeah, gave me another 300,000, and then from there, I asked him, do you care how I invest? I'm investing like a young guy because I'm 24 at the time. And he said, I want you to invest how I invest. I said, all right, I'm letting you know. It's 111% risk, all risk. And that time it was all growth stocks, all tech. And we rode that ride, and we had some exit points. And that was kind of just the start.
So we've had plenty of conversations, but every time I hear your investment strategy and you talking about it, I always wonder, was there any point that you feel fear of if this did not work, right? Because he started with the 40, and then obviously the money went up. Did you ever feel like, listen, I better get this right, because not only will I lose this money, but I potentially could lose my job, right? Was there any of that in your mind going through during that process?
Yeah, most definitely. There's always that thought of fear. And for me, it was a little bit more, right? Roger Harvey, shout out my way, Roger. That's my best friend. So Mr. Harvey's his father. So now it's like, just off, how Black culture is in families. Like, my father told me first thing going into work, like, don't mess up this Black man's money. And he's giving Mr. Harvey permission, like, yeah, do what you got to do to him, right? So, if he can literally put his hands on me without my father getting upset, it's a little level, of pressure. But what I will say, man, Mr. Harvey made me really comfortable. It was like, Alec, it's your 40. And, he, of course, he would make it seem like he didn't care, but he later told me that he did care. But at the time, he made it seem like he didn't care. And to be honest, there's always a little bit of nervousness, but after you do your research, man, like, the numbers don't lie. So I'm a numbers guy. So after a certain point, he says that he felt like I was cocky and confident because I'm like, I got Square at 13, Match at 13, PayPal at 30, 31, Meta at the time at 102.
Please put some fire in the chat for him.
Yeah, Alibaba at like 190 something. And come on, 2000, these are all 2016s. So in 2019, I mean,
You the man.
yeah. So at that point, now we're trimming and now we're using that money, and it created opportunity from, going into that. I work with this lady, Christelle Cisse, shout out to her from Chicago. That's what I work with all like our financial deals. Because of like the success from that, we were taking funds from our investment portfolio, and then we started his family office. So now from the success of the stock portfolio, we created, the Harvey Ventures family office, which is the vehicle that we use to invest in, early stage tech companies, Black entrepreneurs, Africa, internationally. So the success from the portfolio kind of led into him wanting to expand his investment, opportunities and the ways that he looked at investment.
For those that are watching right now and feel like their moment hasn't come yet, or they're down and out, can you talk about how important it is to give value first and help people win, and that will create your bridge to success? Because that's been your entire formula.
Most definitely. Well, hey man, my time hasn't came yet either, so I hope
it's coming.
I hope they all
with those kind of returns.
Man, appreciate it.
It's coming. Yeah. Don't be humble.
Yeah. But I mean, I honestly, man, I work around Steve Harvey, so I get motivation. You all been around the 4 hour, so like I get motivation out the wazoo. I just believe that it's always what I can learn from somebody. So even with Troy and Shaw, like I think I talked to Troy 3 times. Shout out Ryan Pham connected us, and we talked for a few times. And before, I knew Mr. Harvey couldn't do the interview the first time. For me, it was just like I just want to help. Like I just want to help these guys because like they have something amazing, they have something great. And then, like I know I have a wealth of resources that can give access to them that I might not be able to put to use at that particular time. So for me, every relationship doesn't have to be transactional. However, I always want to like just be of value to somebody. I watched The Black Godfather, Claire Savant. So shout out to Mr. Avant. Like that's how I want to be. If I can help you two make 10 million, I mean, I might not be in a business deal. I'm gonna be in a room on the next one, Yeah. So for me, it's always about value I can provide to somebody, because at the end of the day, they're always going to help you once you start, showing that you can be an asset rather than a liability. No puns intended, of course, right? But it's like
pun intended.
Yeah, everybody wants someone to add value. Everybody wants, like every successful person I meet, man. Mr. Harvey always says like he appreciates people who help him push the wagon. Like he always has this analogy that he's, Tom Henry on the front of a wagon. In that wagon, as a man, you got your family, your responsibilities, your friends, and he's pulling that wagon by himself, right? Up this hill, across rocks, all that stuff, wheels breaking, water buckets falling, all that, right? And there's nothing people like that appreciate more than someone who like, man, I see this man pushing this wagon. I'm gonna help him on the side. I might not be able to pull the whole wagon. Well, let me just give a little push on the side. Let me help put this fruit back in the wagon that fell off. Let me knock this rock out your way. Let me, so I feel like that type of stuff adds more value to people and adds value to you, right? Because like I'm 29, I'm about to turn 30 in a few weeks. And I feel that the only reason a lot of older people mess with me is because of the relationships that I built with certain people and because of like how I am, right? So I feel like you can't be a leader without being a great follower. Well, to be a great follower, what do great followers do? You might go get something. I've seen Dan Cathy is the best example of someone who like puts service first. Shout out to Dan Cathy. Go to InvestFest, get those tickets.
We'll be at it.
By the way,
we'll be at
InvestFest. But Dan Cathy, man, he taught me something extremely important. Dan Cathy is a multi-billionaire. And if you look at his Chick-fil-A customer tag, it says Dan Cathy, customer service. It doesn't say CEO, it doesn't say boss. If you ever meet him, he's going to give you a Chick-fil-A sandwich card, no matter what, because that's just kind of who his ethos is. His thoughts are, they're created to serve, right? And then if you meet anybody who works at a Chick-fil-A, they all have that same ethos. So
absolutely,
it's from the top down. So if I see billionaires picking up my plate after we're eating at a meeting and he's the richest person there, like, hey, let me get that for you. Like, it just shows a level of humbleness. So I just think that's kind of needed to get to the next level. Like, you can be arrogant, but I mean, y'all meet more people, than me. So you know how it is when you meet a dude and it's like, okay, this guy, not really what I thought. You know, you don't even want to work with them or be around them. You know.
I'll say that happens a lot.
This that Red Panda anthem.
Ian, what's up?
This that Red Panda anthem.
Red Panda,
This
what's
that
good?
Red Panda anthem. Whole foot going up. I know they can't stand it.